Hello, beautiful soul. As always, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Emily, also known as Emily the Mystic, and I just have to say, I am so grateful for you being here on this channel. However you found me, however you found my content and my videos, it is just such an honor for me to witness you along your spiritual journey and to provide valuable content and resources that can help you along your journey, because these are some of the things that I wish that I had had when I was really in the deep depths of my spiritual journey. And so I just have to say, I'm so glad that you are here and you're such a captive audience for my content. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Whether this is the first video that you have stumbled upon or you have been binge watching my content, no matter where you are in the Emily the Mystic journey, I am so grateful for you. And so today I wanted to share with you my story of how I went from being a very intuitive and empathic and sensitive kid to now being a full-time spiritual and intuitive business owner, while along the way somehow working a corporate 9-to-5 job, how I got from there to here where I am now, being a full-time healer and a business owner, what that looked like for me, how that unfolded. I have shared this story in some other videos on my channel, but I felt like it was time to share it again, some new information, new details, and so on and so forth, so that this can be an expander for you on your own journey. Perhaps you are thinking about starting a spiritual business, or you want to somehow find a way to use your passions and your hobbies and talents, whatever those may be, to create your own career path, just like I did. Maybe it's not in spirituality, maybe it's in a different field entirely, but you're looking to escape the matrix, as we like to say, and create a career path that feels aligned for you. I wanted this video to help to give you some ideas and to help expand you into what could be possible for you on your path. As I was writing the content for this video, this originally started out as me wanting to share with you some information about how I have healed my witch wound and how that has really helped me gain success in the spiritual community, and how healing my witch wound has helped me to be seen and be visible for doing this work. But in order to share that information, we need to go back to the beginning, and I need to share my story with you as well. So this video is going to be two parts. So part one today is me sharing my story with you and how I've gotten, again, from being an intuitive child to now being a full-time spiritual business owner, my spiritual reawakening journey and what that has looked like. And then part two, that's going to be released next week, is how healing my witch wound has really helped me gain more success, gain more visibility, gain more money, financial resources in order to be able to do this work full-time. So I needed to split this up because otherwise it was going to be a very long rant and a very long video. So without further ado, let's get into it. So you don't need to know anything today other than just to sit back and relax as I tell my story with you. And I really hope that you see yourself within my journey. Perhaps you've been similar places, seen similar things, had a similar upbringing to me, and I really hope that this can give you hope with wherever you are going on your path. Because if you are being called to a non-traditional career path, a non-traditional life path like I am, it can feel difficult to figure out what to do next. It can feel kind of uncomfortable, especially when you're faced with telling the people in your life that you want to do something that's more non-traditional, or you want to do something that goes against the grain of what society tells us that we need to do with our life. And so I hope that this video, again, provides you hope to see that it is absolutely possible for you if you feel called to taking a more non-traditional path with your life and with your career. All right, so and by the way, I went through a very, very rapid period of growth over the last couple of years. So my journey has really been one of extreme change and very, very, very quickly for me over the last couple of years. But in order for me to help explain that and how that happened, we need to go back to the beginning and back to my childhood, where all stories begin, from once upon a time. So my spiritual journey really began when I was a child. I was like I've shared before, a very sensitive, intuitive, and empathic kid. I was definitely the dreamer at the back of the classroom, the one who was always daydreaming about being outside and playing in nature, or being at the beach and not working and focusing on my schoolwork. And I was really fascinated with spirituality from a very young age. I am 29 years old as of filming this video in 2023. So I grew up in the 90s. I was born in 1994. And when I would get home from school, I would watch Oprah and Ellen with my mom, and they would have on famous psychics like John Edward and Sylvia Brown, and even Teresa Caputo when she came onto the scene later. And I just remember being so obsessed with what that was, and the fact that these people had such a clear connection to the spirit world. I believed in it, sight unseen. There was no convincing, or there was no need to convince Emily that the spirit world exists. I believed in it from a very, very, very young age. And I wanted to learn more about spirituality. So during my time after school, my mom would take me to the library and bookstores, if you remember, bookstores when they were really popular in the late 90s and early 2000s. To bookstores like Barnes & Noble and Borders, and I would just sit in the alternative and new age section of the bookstore, the alternative spirituality and religion section, and just read as many books as I could about astrology and numerology and the law of attraction and all of these different spiritual topics. Even if I, as an 8, 9, 10-year-old kid, didn't fully understand what those topics meant or how they could be applicable to a preteen kid, I still really, really enjoyed learning as much as I could. And there was this deep sense of soul understanding with reading those books of like, yes, this makes sense to me. I know this is real. I understand that there's more out there to this universe than what we see with our physical eyes, and I believe it. I know that it's real. And in fact, I actually went to Catholic school for 12 years. So I was raised in a religious household. My mom is Roman Catholic. My dad is Presbyterian, so a form of Protestantism. So I always had a religious background in my life. So I was taught to believe in God from a very young age. So I never questioned my beliefs about God or the universe, but a lot of what was taught to me in Catholic school about being a sinner and being born into this lifetime automatically being wrong for who you are, and having to like bow down to this punishing God who you have to do good things and good work in order to be loved by this God, that just didn't jive with me. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand that God doesn't just love us for who we are, not based on what we do, which is what we're really taught in Catholicism. Now, some people may disagree with me on that, but when you're a kid, that's what you believe. That's what you understand. You believe that you are bad. You are wrong if you are not this pious, holy, perfect person, right? And so spirituality gave me this insight into a new perspective on God and the universe, that you could just be loved for being who you are, for existing. And I loved that, and I ate that up, and it made me feel so safe and so seen. I am a very intelligent person. I would say that I was born with probably an above average sensitivity and intelligence. And so when I was a kid, I felt really different from all the other kids in my school and in my grade. I just didn't feel like I really fit in. But I was smart enough and empathic enough to be able to become the version of me that I needed to be in order to be accepted by everybody else. The real Emily, the childhood Emily, wanted to wear crazy colors and sequins and glitter and all of these like outrageous pieces of clothing. But the Emily that needed to fit in to stay safe had to wear a uniform to school, and she had to dress very conservatively, and she had to be the quiet, good girl in the back of the class. She couldn't be this, outrageous, creative, artsy, DIY sort of personality. She had to be very conservative and very pious in the way that she showed up in school. So spirituality sort of became my outlet for feeling understood, even if I wasn't surrounded by people or friendships who really got that, or who were able to teach that to me, or who were able to help me understand my own belief systems. So there was always this interesting contrast for me between the Catholicism and the uniforms and the spirituality and the fun, creative, artistic me. That was who I am. That is who I am and who I really was as a kid. And so, and the other piece of this too is Roman Catholicism teaches in the Bible that fortune telling and tarot cards and being psychic, being intuitive is evil, and that it's bad, and that you are a sinner for engaging in different types of practices other than Catholicism and other than the 10 Commandments and what the church teaches you. So that very interesting contrast between me still engaging in that, but then showing up for school, really shaped a lot of my life. And I am so grateful for my parents, especially my mom, who still allowed me to read about spirituality and foster some of those beliefs and still engage in it, because my mom has told me stories of her own mom taking her to the boardwalk during the summer to have a tarot reading, or telling her about UFOs and aliens and taking her UFO hunting when she was a kid, which is so unusual and so interesting. So my parents were very accepting of me and my unusual beliefs. But I still needed to fit in with the school that I was going to and with the other kids who were around me. So growing up, I desperately wanted to continue to try to fit in because it seemed like the safest path and the path towards acceptance and the path towards life being a little bit easier. So on the inside, as I have shared throughout this video so far, I was a super artistic, creative, and kind of unusual person. But on the outside, I tried to act and be this like cool, calm, and collected, normal, average kid. And of course, I love to do things like that every kid loves to do. I loved the brownies and Girl Scouts and crafts and doing art projects. And I loved sports like tennis and getting outside and running around the backyard. And I loved video games and computer games, which were really big when the internet first launched in the early 2000s. So I love a lot of the stuff that normal kids did, but there's also sort of this offbeat part of myself, that couldn't really figure out what to do with life. And throughout high school, I really put on this like good girl, popular person persona in order to fit in and in order to seem cool and normal like everybody else. However, since revisiting my parents' home and digging through my stuff, from childhood, I have found journals and manifestation lists and full moon journal prompts and new moon journal prompts and all of these things from my teenage years that are super spiritual, but that have just been shoved into the back of my dresser drawer and lost to time. And I don't even remember sharing those manifestation lists and things with my friends that I had at the time. It was something very private that was just for me. That was a way for me to express myself outside of school. So I ended up really taking a more mainstream path with spirituality for a long time. Throughout high school, again, just wanting to fit in, I ended up applying to a lot of more business-focused colleges, and I eventually chose going to Temple University as my school of choice. If you're not familiar with Temple University, it is a huge public school here in Pennsylvania, specifically in Philadelphia. By the way, I grew up in central Pennsylvania, outside of the Harrisburg area, specifically in Mechanicsburg, and I continue to live here in Philadelphia, so I went to school here, went to university here, and then I just decided to stay. But I chose this program at Temple that was really focused on business and marketing because it felt like the perfect mix of my creativity and my creative ideas, while also being something that I could get a stable job with and have a stable career and income once I graduated from school and from university. And also going to a public school in state is so much more, is a lot cheaper and more easy to pay for than going to a private small liberal arts school. So all of that just seemed to make sense. And when I was in college, I quickly became obsessed with health and fitness and yoga. And health and fitness became a passion of mine that I really loved to do while studying, while learning about business, taking finance classes, accounting classes, all of these different really boring, really dry business classes that I needed for my business degree. I really found a love along the way in working with the physical body, learning how to weight lift and strength train, and also flexibility training through yoga. And so I had this amazing combination of passions within health and fitness that sort of helped to be my stress reliever while getting my business degree. Now that's important because that is going to help you to understand how I started a business at all later on in 2020. So I graduated from Temple in 2016, and I started working right away in a corporate job. I got an internship working for this company my senior year of Temple, and they offered me a full-time position. So it seemed easy. It seemed like a no-brainer. And in this role, I was trained to be an assistant, eventually an associate and a buyer for a major retail company. And as a buyer, our role was to pick out product and to design product and consumer goods for stores that people could go to where they could buy things for themselves, buy things for their family. So we had this really cool role of picking out the product based on consumer trend and also based on what our stores were able to sell. So I had this job that really seemed like a perfect job for a creative, artistic woman on paper. I was working in the fashion industry. I was traveling to New York twice a week. It seemed very glamorous. When I first started, I was working in the shoe department. So I worked with a lot of really glamorous shoe brands like Steve Madden and Jessica Simpson, and a lot of really popular shoe brands that you probably have in your closet. And I literally got to work with those brands one-on-one, which was amazing. However, this job was exhausting. I was commuting to New Jersey, the neighboring state to Pennsylvania, 3 days a week, about 45 minutes to an hour each way, and I was traveling to New York twice a week, so I was not getting any sleep. I was so burnt out, and I constantly had to focus on work all the time. So I lived for the weekends. I had no time for myself. My only hobby was health and fitness. I still maintained going to the gym and strength training. And that really became like my major stress reliever and my major outlet for myself as a way to feel good, as a way to maintain my health, even when I had this job that was quickly pouring all of my health down the drain. I really struggled within this corporate career to have a voice. It was so much easier for me to put my head down and to work and to fit in than it was for me to stand out and speak up for myself and ask for what I needed, to ask for a raise or to ask for a promotion. And so I really struggled in order to be seen and be heard in this career. And that is really important when we dive into the video next week, which is going to be how I work to heal my witch wound, because you'll see there are a lot of similar themes that carried on throughout my corporate career into the beginning of my business that I really needed to work through and heal in order to be seen for being a spiritual business owner today. So we will get there. Again, this is all important background that's going to help you to understand the video on how I healed my witch wound so much easier. So, fast forward to the beginning of 2020. So I worked in this corporate job from when I graduated from college in 2016 through 2021. And at the beginning of 2020, before the pandemic even started, I started getting this intuitive nudge that it was time for me to focus on health and fitness. I would go to the gym early in the morning at 5 a.m. and I would see these personal trainers who are working there. And I really admired the fact that they got to work with people one-on-one and in groups, and they were really changing people's lives. They were helping people to feel healthy. They were giving people a major relief from their stress and a way to maintain their health and wellness outside of work. And I thought that was so cool. And I really admired them and I wanted to be like them. And so I decided to get my personal training certification. And I was paying attention to a lot of influencers at the time who were creating these online businesses where they were able to train people from home virtually without having to work with them in person. And I thought to myself, well, I've been through this massive fitness transformation. I've really seen that my health improve. I feel great. I look really great. I know that I can help other people do this too. So at the beginning of 2020, I decided to start a health and fitness coaching business called Emily Logan Fitness Coaching, LLC, at the beginning of, again, 2020, before the pandemic even started. So while I was still commuting to the office, I was still working for my corporate job, I would come home at night and I would work on my health and fitness business. I created a social media platform and I started creating a lot of content, and I started reaching out to people in my network to ask if they wanted health and fitness coaching. And I quickly found my first few clients who I was able to coach virtually through a fitness coaching platform. And I was really obsessed with that and having so much fun with it. I also got my personal training certification. And then along the way, in March of 2020, which it is the 3-year anniversary as I'm filming this video, the world shut down and the pandemic hit, and I started working from home. My corporate job moved us to work from home. I was very lucky in that I did not lose my job, but we were forced to work from home, which was great for me because I all of a sudden had all this time to focus on my health and fitness coaching business. Those couple hours that I gained back a day where I was commuting to my job, now I was able to use those to focus on building my online platform. And along the way, as we are moving through the pandemic, Emily began to go through what I call a spiritual reawakening journey. So I was focusing on the health and fitness coaching business. I also started following a lot of spiritual influencers again, and I started listening to spiritual podcasts. Now, at the time, from what I was able to find, there wasn't a ton of stuff out there. Not a lot of people were really focusing on spirituality or had that as a full-time career, or at least from my conscious awareness and what I was able to find. But the few podcasts that I did find were massive awakeners for me and really threw me back into my spiritual journey again. Reminder that this started for me from a very early age. So it was like, oh my God, yes, spirit guides. Yes, I used to talk to my spirit guides when I was a kid. Oh my God, yes. Astrology, like I want to study that again. Oh my gosh, yes, all of these spiritual topics started rushing back into my consciousness again. And I was like, used to be a part of my normal life. Wow, I can't wait to continue to study spirituality. So 2020 ended up being a really awesome year for me. I spent a lot of time and money investing into different spiritual coaches and receiving different readings from people, and also taking different spiritual classes. I took a class in astrology, I took a class in mediumship, I took a class in intuition, I took a shadow work mentorship. So I did all of these different experiences in 2020 that really, again, became this massive awakener for me. And I quickly went through this massive consciousness up level in 2020 and my intuitive and psychic gifts started coming online very, very, very quickly. So a lot of people ask me, Emily, how did you start working with your intuitive and psychic gifts? And I'm going to tell you that now. I received a reading from a very well-known psychic and shaman at the beginning of 2020 during this awakening that I was going through. And one of the things that she told me about and helped me to understand and see within myself was how psychic and intuitive I am, and the fact that I have the ability to be able to speak to the other side and to be able to communicate with my loved ones who have passed. And now when I heard that, I was so shocked. I almost fell out of my chair and fell onto the floor. But at the same time, it felt like such a natural thing. It was like, oh yeah, of course I know how to do that. Oh yeah, my soul knows how to do that. Absolutely. That totally makes sense. And all of a sudden, all of these spiritual experiences, I'll have to make a whole other video about, that I had going throughout high school with I've lost a lot of loved ones throughout my life, and how I've received signs from them and so on and so forth. All of those experiences started rushing back and made me realize, like, yes, you have such a strong connection to the other side, to the spirit world. Like, this makes so much sense. So that's when I started learning about mediumship and intuition and my psychic gifts, and I started having a lot of psychic experiences in 2020. I also couldn't sleep because my energy was like so on fire that whole year. And I was, again, going through this massive reawakening, this massive up level where I was letting go of like all of these old versions of myself and waking up to the fact that I am this like really powerful spiritual person and spiritual being, and I have a lot of gifts. And also really coming into this idea and potential that I'm meant to do this work for other people, and that I'm meant to help other people with their intuitive and psychic gifts as well. So as we're moving through the end of 2020, I was still doing some health and fitness coaching. However, with my one-on-one clients, I would do psychic and intuitive readings for them. I did tarot readings for them. I would do mediumship readings for them. And I found that I loved that so much that I started offering intuitive and mediumship readings for people on my Emily Logan Fitness Coaching Instagram page. And that really became a really cool outlet for me to use my intuitive gifts, to practice them. And I had so much fun with that. So at the end of 2020, I really had created my own method for working with my psychic and intuitive gifts and with working with mediumship in a way that felt good to me. I ended up getting hired as a medium for a local psychotherapy office here in Philadelphia, where I began doing virtual mediumship readings to help others connect with their loved ones on the other side, which gave me so much more practice, so much more confidence in my gifts. Just felt like the easiest, most natural thing in the world. And again, because I had really created and combined all of these different teachers that I had learned from into a method of working with my psychic gifts that worked for me, I decided to create my own program on intuition and psychic gifts, which was called the Cosmic Kickstarter. And that program became the foundation for my now business, Emily the Mystic, that really helped me launch fully into the world of spirituality. That program was very, very successful. I quickly attracted a lot of clients into that program who also wanted to learn how to work with their psychic, intuitive, and mediumship gifts. And that became a really powerful foundation for my income. And that is what helped me to quit my corporate job in order to be able to focus on this full time. So the next phase of this was at the beginning of 2021, end of 2020, beginning of 2021. That's when I found the Akashic Records. As you all know, I'm an Akashic Records consultant and channeler, and that's a huge focus of my business today. One of my major reservations with doing psychic and intuitive readings was I felt like I didn't have a ton of access to information about my clients. I wasn't able to go deep enough with them. I wasn't able to help them heal. It felt very surface level. So at the beginning of 2021, I found the Akashic Records and received not my first Akashic reading, but my first profound Akashic Records reading that was focused on healing from my now mentor, Jennifer Longmore, who helped me to feel this sense of homecoming when connecting to the spirit world, working, learning, and receiving information from my Akashic Records in this reading with Jennifer helped me to see like, wow, I am meant to be a full-time channeler. I'm meant to be here to do this work. I'm going to be successful doing this work. Like, I really have to focus on this. And that reading was so profound for me, and Jennifer helped me access some of my past lives and helped me to heal from things from childhood and with my family and so on and so forth. I knew I needed to learn how to do that to help other people as well, to add another modality to my toolbox. So in 2021, I started learning the Akashic Records. I did her Akashic Record Mastery Program, which is literally like receiving a PhD in the Akashic Records. It's so comprehensive. This was a year-long mentorship. I took it from 2021 through the whole year of 2021. It took a lot of time. I did hundreds of hours of practice readings, and that showed me, wow, I can really have a profound impact on my clients, so much more so than just a classic psychic and intuitive reading. I can really go deep with people, and I can help them to heal from their past lives, from their childhood, from all different things that have happened in many different lifetimes, and have this incredibly profound impact on them. And that was where my business really started to kick off. The combination of the Akashic Records with my intuitive and psychic development mentorship really helped me to feel confident in me and my gifts. And from there, at the beginning of 2021, I created the brand Emily the Mystic based on some meditations that I had and some spiritual experiences that I had. I wanted to create a brand for myself that really focuses on me, but also the full spectrum and umbrella of spirituality. So I chose to be Emily the Mystic because I can study mysticism and I can help my clients understand different spiritual and mystical topics. It doesn't box me into one thing like mediumship or intuition or psychic gifts. It combines everything. So that's when Emily the Mystic was born. And after I created my brand and felt so confident in my vision, I was doing readings for this psychotherapy office. I had this group offering. I decided that it was time, and intuitively I felt and knew deep in my body, deep in my soul, that it was time to quit my corporate job. So at the beginning, sort of Q1, beginning of Q2 of Q1 of 2021, I quit my corporate job and went full-time in my business. And I was so lucky because the universe fully supported me in that transition. I didn't have any money saved quitting my corporate job. I just knew I needed to do this work full-time. And I was given a tax refund that year because I quit my job in like March of that year, and I was able to receive this tax refund in April that was helped me pay for my bills at the beginning of May. And by that point, I was able to replace my income from all the different things that I've shared with you already, and that was just such a beautiful thing. It was so easy for me to be able to replace my corporate income and be able to do this work full time. And now I am so lucky to be able to help beautiful souls like you through my work and my channeling to help you to understand more of who you are at a soul level and to help you to feel seen and understood. especially if you've gone through a lot of your life, like I did, feeling like an outsider or feeling like you don't fit in, feeling like you're different from all the other kids in your community. Perhaps it was easy for you to make friends, but you never really felt like you had a lot of deep friendship connections. I want you to feel so safe and seen from me and my work and from being part of the Emily the Mystic community. I am just so glad that you are here. And now the Emily the Mystic brand, it's 2023. We continue to grow. I continue to develop my own gifts and really help my clients on developing theirs. I really focus a lot of my work on helping new and aspiring entrepreneurs start their own businesses and grow their businesses within the realm of spirituality. So again, I wanted this video to help you so that you can see me as an inspiration for you and for your own life path, because it is absolutely possible to take all of your passions and your hobbies and your knowledge and your talent and combine that into something that is so authentically you that you can share with the world and that you can make an income from. So I hope that this video helped you to gain some clarity around who I am and the work that I do. And I hope that you're able to see yourself in my story and know that it's absolutely possible for you, whether you want to do this work as a side hustle or to do it full time. If you're getting ready to quit your corporate job, I got you. I would love to support you. I have so many ways that I can support you in that. So a couple of different things and different ways that I can help you with that. The main container that I support my entrepreneurship clients is one-on-one through my one-on-one private mentoring. So there will be a link in the caption below where you can read more all about that. And we can absolutely schedule a free consultation call to make sure that it is a good fit and that we are a good coach and mentee fit together. I also have an amazing group mentorship called the Embodied Priestess that is going to help you to embody your priestess energy so that you can feel confident doing this work for other people. It's going to help you to heal the witch wound. Again, we're going to talk about that more in next week's video, and to help you to gain confidence in yourself and in your gifts and to understand more of who you are authentically at a soul level. So you can read more about that mentorship as well at the at the link in my caption. And I also do a variety of one-on-one readings, one-off readings, so we can work together in that container as well. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you are new here, and I cannot wait to see you next week in next week's video where we dive into the witch wound. All right, sending love.